Prominent Muslims and Islamic groups have declared their emphatic condemnation for the killing of a British soldier by two radical Islam converts. The two suspects in the case were said to have been British of Nigerian descent and raised as Christians before converting. A religious cleric at the Woolwich Mosque near the site of the murder slammed the attack.
We today condemn in the strongest terms and barbaric murder of the serving army officer and share the grief and sorrow of the nation. Our heart go out to the family, colleagues and friends of the victim of this despicable and horrific tragedy. We are all very deeply shocked and saddened to have witnessed a terrible crime in our neighborhood. We do not and we will never support such evil acts and strongly suggest that both of these men should be severely punished as criminals and not as so-called Muslims for the crime they have committed.
The Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Britain also denounced the murder of the soldier and called on Muslims to demonstrate the true nature of Islam.
We urge Muslim communities to reach out to fellow Britons and testify the true reality of our faith. We call on all our communities, Muslim and non-Muslim, to come together in solidarity to ensure the forces of hatred do not prevail.
The director of Abraham College, which specializes in Islamic studies, called on Muslims and non-Muslims to work together to tackle extremism.
Extremism on all sides, whether it is extremism, the extremism of Muslims or the extremisms of the far-right political groups, there are common denominators that cross the whole spectrum of different people, and we have to address this together. Muslims and non-Muslims have to come together to address this single disposition that has become such a huge threat to our community.
But the deadly attack has raised doubts as to whether enough is being done to combat the rise of extremist ideals. Anjem Chowdhury, a controversial figure in Britain and head of the Al-Muhajirun Islamic group, recognized and identified one of the suspects, Michael Adebolio, and said the UK only had its own policies to blame for the attack.
And I think that we need to look at two things. Number one, the cause of what took place, which is clearly the British foreign policy, and also the situation of the Muslims in this country, that there are so many draconian laws and oppressive legislature where the Muslims cannot express themselves freely. They're subject to stop and search, prescription, they're constantly being harassed. And we saw with 7/7 with Muhammad Siddiq Khan that he said, look, my words are not being heard, therefore I'm expressing them, in a different way. And he was saying, I think, something very similar yesterday.
Chowdhury's group has been known for staging protests at the funerals of British soldiers and burning poppy pins on Remembrance Day, which are worn annually to commemorate war dead.
I think there's a cause and effect. The cause of what took place yesterday possibly is the foreign policy. Rather than condemning an action, we should say that let's deal with the root cause. If we withdraw troops from Muslim countries, if we stop using all of these oppressive measures, then I don't think these things would take place.
British soldier drummer Lee Rigby, aged 25, was hacked to death, allegedly by machetes and meat cleavers. Two suspects have been taken into custody and are being treated in hospital after suffering gunshot wounds during their arrest.